Hi there, thank you so much for clicking the thumbnail and being interested in my work. In this video I share with you my techniques and tips on how I achieved the skin tones. Be sure to watch it right through to the end because here and there I'll slow things down so you can take a closer look. So let's dive in and take a look. So here's the drawing at the end of part 1, how to draw the outline freehand. If you haven't seen the video, it's in my channel, so please check that out. So the first thing to do is to do the underdrawing. So these are the colours, basic colours I'm using for the underdrawing, which is the primary colours and a secondary colour there, which is a green and also a brown. Because this was drawn freehand, I need to get the structure right, so this is another part of the drawing process, which is the underdrawing, where things can be moved around. My approach is not to go very heavy with the colours, so the actual colours are put on very lightly here. So it's just keying in the certain areas, getting the flow right, getting the feeling right. It's basically getting that emotion in there, making sure everything's in the correct place before we start putting heavy colour on. Now the colours I'm using like primary colours, so it's like a warm red, an ultramarine blue and a yellow ochre. So the yellow ochre is, instead of cadmium yellow, I put yellow ochre, which is really great for skin tones. Now I lay the white down first, then glaze over the top in the light areas, and in the dark areas I go straight in with the colour and then subtle it with a bit of white afterwards. As I'm working in the colour as well, I'm constantly checking to make sure everything's in the position correctly by using vertical and horizontal measurements. Also again measuring with thumb and finger, just to double check everything's okay. Right, for the hair, what you're doing is you finding the area where the strands of the hair with white and then glaze over the top with colour. The colours I'm using is burnt umber, burnt sienna, ultramarine blue and yellow ochre, and it's just a mixture of that really. Similar, again, it's like a primary colours. You've got your burnt sienna for your red, yellow ochre for your yellow, and then you've got ultramarine for your blue. Just speeding things up a little bit now, just because I don't want to keep repeating myself, and also I want to get on with spending more time on the rich colours. So just basically trying to get through this as quick as possible, and then we can start then looking at how I put on the rich colours and make that vibrancy of the flesh tones. If you're getting value from this video, why not subscribe? It's absolutely free, then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. Okay, so these are the rich colours I'm using, the Carandy Ash range. And here's the mixture of the colours I'll be glazing over the top as well. So I've listed all the colours in the description below, so take a look at that later. I even give you the numbers of each pencil as well. So the first thing I do is put in the white of the Carandy Ash or the pink colour that I've chosen, and then glaze over the top. Now what I'm glazing over the top with is a rich red, these are the colours here, and a yellow ochre, and these are from the Carandy Ash range. The other colour there was actually a dark green. And also a Carbothello red here I'm glazing with as well. So you're mixing between the two, you're just picking up the pencils and seeing what works. But basically what you're doing, you're using your primaries, you're using your red, your yellow ochre, and then your green. Now the reason I do green is because if the red, when you put it on, is too saturated or too rich in colour, you can desaturate it by adding a little bit of green, so it takes that sort of vibrance off it, or saturation. And green is the complementary colour of red on the colour wheel, so that's what works. So if it's a more of an orangey colour, I'd use blue to subtle it down. Now what you see me using here is a Caran d'Ache pencil, which is a yellow ochre actually mixed with white, so it's already done for you, so that's why I'm using that. It's just a quick way of putting it down. Sometimes I just use the basic white and yellow ochre and mix it onto the board. Sometimes that works better and the colour's fresher. It's a case of seeing what works really, and if you can get away with using these pre-mixed yellow ochre and white mixers and red and white mixers, it just makes things quicker and it adds to the texture sometimes as well. So it's a case of playing about and see what works. Little tip on glazing the colour as well. You put in heavy white in there first, and then you very lightly, it's almost just scraping across the surface a little bit of colour, which is like a glaze, and then you just rub it with your finger if you need to. With this technique as well, bear in mind that you have to go darker and then lighten it up afterwards. So when you put your glaze on, it's slightly darker and then you go over again with your white, and you keep doing that process till it's correct. You can't get the colour exactly straight away, so you have to build it up into different layers as you glaze. So sometimes you have to put a darker colour on, then lighten it up. So you've got the pigment there to get the right shade once it's lightened up. So you can't really when you glaze, you can't glaze the right colour. It's just got to keep mixing it as you go, and then eventually it comes together, and then you know when to stop. Now for the darkest areas of the picture, I use brown and purple. It's better than using black really. If you can get away without using black, that is really good, because black can make things look a little bit too dull really. It's not got much life into it. But if you mix the colour like a brown and purple, it really does make a difference. When I do the eyes as well, I always do the eyes at the same time, so I do both the same time rather than just doing one and then later on do the other, because sometimes you will forget how you've mixed the colours and then it will look a bit odd. So I always tend to do the irises the same time. If you would like to support me on Patreon, I am now offering an exclusive 4-hour long video plus a step-by-step exclusive video every month. To find out more, the link is in the description below. Here's another tip for you as well. If the colours need to be really vibrant, add that little bit of lemon yellow and it'll really make it stand out. Also, if you've dulled it too much by using the green, like using the red and green, dulling it down, you can bring it back to life by just adding a little bit more lemon yellow. So if you've gone too far with dulling it, you can just liven it up again. My approach to painting is not to put every little detail down as well. So you notice that the actual image I'm working from is not too blown up. It's only a small image. I'll keep it that way, for a reason. I want to see the whole of the image, so it connects me to more energy, and I tend to sort of switch on to the energy and emotion of a person by opening the heart. So let go of the mind, open the heart. If you send love to the image, whatever subject you're doing, just send love, open your heart to it. You'll find there'll be more emotion come back and more sensitivity, and that will just flow through you, out of your hands, onto the portrait. If you're enjoying this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? I'd really appreciate that, as it would help the channel to grow. For the ears, just putting the white down first again, then glazing over with the red and yellow ochre. For the dark areas, I'm using a dark green and then a cold red, which gives a really nice depth to the shadows. Now, because the cast shadow there is creating quite a dark skin tone there, I use a dark green with a cold red, and that really does make a difference. It really gives it that sort of depth to it, and there is reflected light within the shadow area as well, so you're using the white over the top to create that. But it's a case of, again, just putting that dark area in first, getting the white in, glazing over the top, and just keep mixing it. But squint your eyes and just keep looking at the image, your reference image, squinting your eyes, try and get that value right, because it's so important. For longer, slower and more in-depth videos, please join me on Patreon. The link is in the description below. Now I use the Carbothello white there to get a texture to the skin as well. So I'll lay the colour on, and then I'm moving the pencil in all different directions to create a texture, because skin isn't smooth, it's not like plastic, so you have to create a sort of blotchy, it's almost a blotchy effect when you look close at the reference image, but you're recreating that. You're not putting every blotch exactly the same in the same place, but you're just sort of getting that similar sort of feel to it, and then glaze over the top. So that's a good idea to use the Carbothello white that way. That's how I tend to do it, and it really does make a difference to the actual texture of the skin. Drawing hands can be quite daunting as well, because you have expectations of what a hand should be like, and when you look at a reference image, there's some weird shapes going off and you think, well, you know, how am I going to draw that? Just let go and just reproduce what you see, just let it happen, and then you'll find then when you look at a distance it looks correct. Just to give you an idea of how I approach painting and drawing, and the thing is, I don't look for the details. If I blow that picture up on reference picture and try and draw every little detail, not only will it be very tedious, but it won't look as relaxed, and it won't look as natural as how I'm doing it by just putting suggestion down. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm just putting suggestion, not detail. The details take care of themselves. It's just a matter of just relaxing and letting your hands flow, connecting to the image, the emotion, and just let it flow. Is the portrait at the correct angle? Because as you saw it on the easel, was in perspective. Thank you for watching the video right through to the end. If you found value in it and you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Appreciate it, would help the channel. Leave a comment and a message in the comments below. Let me know what sort of videos you want me to produce. I've actually left a couple of links here for you to click on, and to subscribe, click on the circle here. It's absolutely free, and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much, take care and be well.